November 24th, 1971, Thanksgiving Eve, Portland, Oregon, 50 p.m. A man walks into Portland International Airport. Average height, average build, mid-40s, dark suit, black tie, sunglasses, case. Nothing remarkable, nothing memorable. Just another businessman traveling on the busiest travel day of the year. He buys a ticket, one way, Seattle to Portland. Wait, no. Portland to Seattle. Then, Northwest Orient Airlines. Flight 305. $20. God. Name on the ticket, Dan Cooper. Not his real name. We know that now. But we didn't know it then. Didn't know anything. Because this man, this ordinary-looking businessman, was about to commit the only unsolved skyjacking in American history. He would hijack a Boeing 727, extort $200,000, demand 4 parachutes, and then, out of the plane, into a thunderstorm, over the wilderness of Washington State, at night, at 10,000 feet, in a business suit, and disappear. The FBI has searched for him for 53 years. Investigated over 1,000 suspects. Followed thousands of leads. Found pieces of the ransom money. Found a parachute strap. Found a clip-on tie. But never found him. Never identified him. Never caught him. Is he dead? Probably. Did he survive the jump? Maybe. Was he a skilled parachutist? Former military? Criminal? Mastermind? Lucky amateur? Nobody knows. What we do know is that D.B. Cooper became a legend, an American folk hero, the man who beat the system, who outsmarted the FBI, who took the money and jumped, was never seen again. This is his story. The story of the only unsolved skyjacking in U.S. history. The story of the man who vanished into thin air, taking $200,000 and leaving only questions. Questions that remain unanswered. 53 years later, Flight 305 boards at Gate 4, Portland International Airport, 2:50 p.m. 36 passengers. Gondol. 6 crew members. Going to Seattle. 30-minute flight. Routine. Normal Thanksgiving Eve travel. The man calling himself Dan Cooper takes seat 18C toy. Rear of the plane. Ida seat. Orders a bourbon and soda. Pays cash. Lights a cigarette. Smoking was allowed then. He sits quietly. Doesn't talk to other passengers. Doesn't draw attention. 3:00 p.m. The plane takes off. Climbs to cruising altitude. Flight attendant Florence Schaffner walks down the aisle, checking on passengers. The man in 18C hands her a note. She assumes it's his phone number. Happens all the time. Mile passengers hitting on flight attendants. She puts it in her pocket. Doesn't read it. Keeps walking. He leans forward. Speaks quietly. Miss, you'd better look at that note. I had a bomb. Florence Schaffner stops, turns around, looks at him. He's calm, not aggressive, not wild-eyed, just calm. She takes out the note, reads it. I have a bomb in my briefcase. I will use it if necessary. I want you to sit next to me. You are being hijacked. She sits, tries to stay calm, asks to see the bomb. He opens his briefcase. Just a few inches. Enough for her to see inside. Red cylinders, wires, battery. Looks real. One. Could be real. Probably is real. He tells her his demands. $200,000 in $20 bills. 4 parachutes. 2 primary. 2 reserve. Refueling truck. Standing by in Seattle. When the plane lands, everyone else goes free. Crew stays. Plane gets refueled. He'll provide further instructions. Florence nods. Walks to the cockpit. Tells Captain William he contacts air traffic control. They contact the FBI. They contact Northwest Orient Airlines. And the negotiation begins. The passengers don't know. Not yet. Captain Scott doesn't announce it. Doesn't want panic. Flight attendants act normal. Serve drinks. Smile. Pretend everything is fine. But in the cockpit, it's chaos. FBI mobilizes. Seattle field office. Agents scrambled. Bank contacted. $200,000. $20 bills. Serial numbers recorded. Every single bill. Photographed. Documented. In case they're recovered. In case the hijacker is caught. In case this works. Parachutes located. King County Sheriff's Office. Seattle Sport Parachute Center. 4 parachutes gathered. 2 primary rigs. 2 reserves. All functional. All packed properly. This is critical detail. The FBI wants them functional. Because if the hijacker jumps and dies, they want to recover the body and the money. 5:24 p.m. Flight 305 lands in Seattle. 2 hours after takeoff. Should have been 30 minutes. But they circled, waiting for money, for parachutes, for approval. The plane taxis to isolated area. Dadors, away from terminal, away from other planes. Passengers are confused. Don't know why they're not at the gate. Captain Scott makes announcement. There's a minor delay. We'll be here a few minutes. Please remain seated. A car drives up. Northwest Orient employee. Shamton se bientenewe. Magdadsi. He carries a bag. Heavy bag. 21 pounds of $20 bills. 10,000 bills. $200,000. And a bag with parachutes. Florence Schaffner opens the rear door. Takes the bags. Brings them to the man in 18C. He checks the money. Satisfied. Checks the parachutes. Opens one reserve. Shoot. Cuts the cords. Uses them later. We'll see why. Satisfied. He makes his next demand. All passengers get off. Now, the crew stays. Pilot took tour. Didn't see. Upload to Korantai. Co-pilot, Dart. Flight engineer. Flight engineer. One flight attendant. Everyone else goes. The passengers leave. Confused. Scared. But alive. They walk down the stairs. Into the night. Not knowing what's happening. Not knowing they've just survived a hijacking. Now, it's just 5 people on the plane. 3 in the cockpit. 1 flight attendant, and a hijacker. He orders the plane refueled, gives the pilot instructions. Flight plan: Mexico City. Fly low, below 10,000 feet. Stay slow, no faster than 150 knots. Rear stairs down. Unpressurized cabin. The crew is confused. Why so slow? Why so low? Why rear stairs down? But they comply. They don't have choice. This man has a bomb, has parachutes, has plan. 7:40 p.m. Flight 305 takes off again, heading south toward Mexico City. But it won't get there, won't even get close, because somewhere between Seattle and Reno, the hijacker is going to jump. 8:00 p.m. Red light in cockpit illuminatus. Rear stairs deployed. Wind rushes in. Cabin pressure drops. Temperature plummets. Cabin EC plummets. The flight attendant is in the cockpit now. The hijacker sent her forward. He's alone in the back. And then, nothing. No communication. No sounds. No movement. Just the open door. And the darkness. Somewhere over southwestern Washington, between Seattle and Reno, at approximately 8:13 p.m., at 10,000 feet. In freezing rain. In darkness. In a business suit. The man known as D.B. Cooper jumped out of a Boeing 727 with $200,000 strapped to his body, with one parachute, into a thunderstorm, into the wilderness, into legend. And the crew didn't see him jump, didn't hear anything, just felt a slight bump, a pressure change. They kept flying, landed in Reno. 10:15 p.m. Checked the cabin. Empty. Gate blind. Elbow. Door opened. Bindedy. Stairs down. 2 parachutes left behind. 1 primary. Did. 1 reserve. Cut open. And the hijacker. Gone. The FBI was waiting. Agents boarded. Searched the plane. Found the tie. Black. Clip-on. Left on seat 18C. Tight. Belwin Dives. Ida. Ryan. Found 2 parachutes. Found nothing else. No bomb. No briefcase. No identity. Just absence. The manhunt began immediately. FBI. Military. Military. Times. Local police. Search parties. Deployed. Helicopters. Blind station. Detinceptana. Ground teams. Searching the projected flight path. Where did he jump? Where did he land? Is he alive? Is he dead? Where's the money? The search area was massive. Dense forest. Dense forest. Rugged terrain. Mountainous. Buell. Remote. Parts of it virtually unexplored. Finding 1 person, 1 body, 1 parachute would be nearly impossible, even in daylight. In good weather. This was night. storm conditions, and the search didn't begin until morning, November 25th, Thanksgiving Day. Search crews found nothing. No parachute, no body, no money, no tracks, no signs anyone had landed. How is that possible? How does someone jump from a plane and leave no trace? Either they died on impact, body hidden in dense forest, or they survived and walked out carrying $200,000. The FBI developed a timeline. The jump occurred at 8:13 p.m. based on pressure change in cabin, based on flight path, based on crew observations. The location, somewhere near Ariel, Washington, Southwest Washington, Cascade Mountains foothills, ACE. Rough calculation could be miles off, but best guess. Weather conditions that night were terrible. Freezing rain, into one-assist, wind, low visibility, temperature at 10,000 feet, below 0 Fahrenheit, wind speed estimated 200 miles per hour at exit. Anyone jumping would be tumbling, disoriented, in darkness, in storm, ice, in business suit tort. The parachute, military surplus, not sport chute, training parachute, pointed on, being heavier, less maneuverable, not designed for precision landing. In those conditions, survival would be miracle. Landing safely would be impossible. Even experienced parachutists would struggle, and nobody knew if this man was experienced. Nobody knew anything about him. The FBI profile developed quickly. White male, mid-40s, 5'10" to 6 feet tall. 170, 180 pounds. Brown eyes. Dark complexion. Dark complexion. Chain smoker. Chain smoker. Tent. Drunk. Bourbon. Shiristani. Spoke without accent. Calm. Tea. Kohol. Pedimtaris. Chai. Carplace. Methodical. Doctual. Ijaya. Knowledgeable about aircraft. New Boeing 727 had rear stairs. Could be deployed in flight. Knowledge was specialized. Military. Airline employee. Engineer. Someone with inside information. The parachute selection was interesting. He demanded 4 parachutes. 2 primary. 2 reserve. Why? FBI theory, so they wouldn't sabotage them. If he demanded 1 or 2, they might give him defective chutes, assuming he'd die. But demanding 4, including reserves, meant he might take someone with him. Hostage. Klein. So all chutes had to work. It was clever. Showed planning. Showed intelligence. But he made mistake. Took the reserve training chute. The one that wasn't steerable. The one that was sewn shut. Couldn't be opened in emergency. If he didn't know that, he wasn't expert. If he did know, he was desperate. Either way, It suggested this might not be experienced parachutist, might be amateur, lucky amateur, or dead amateur. Media got the story. Thanksgiving night. Front page everywhere. Hijacking parachutist with $200,000. But they got the name wrong. Reporter misheard. Dan Cooper became D.B. Cooper. Party Tall die. Temja. It stuck. Forever. The man himself never used that name, but history did. D.B. Cooper. T. The name of a ghost. A legend. A mystery. Public reaction was surprising. People liked him, rooted for him. He was polite hijacker. Didn't hurt anyone. Let passengers go. Tipped the flight attendant. Said thank you and please. Wore a suit. Ordered bourbon. Very civilized. For a criminal, he became folk hero. Robin Hood of the skies, sticking it to the establishment, to corporations, to authority. This was 1971. Dr. White, Vietnam, war ticked, Watergate looming. Distrust of government high, and here was regular guy, beating the system, taking money from airline, and disappearing. Americans loved it, even if it was crime, even if it was terrorism. They loved the audacity, the mystery, the escape. The FBI investigation was massive. Code name: Naryack Dictayers. Magnichod Sar, Nine Tidlo. Northwest hijacking. Assigned hundreds of agents. Interviewed thousands of witnesses. Followed every lead, every tip, every theory. The case consumed resources for years. Decades. Dot. T7. Dodi. Charles by Latour. Attades. Became the longest unsolved case in FBI history. They started with the evidence. The tie. Black. Clip. On. Cheap. Dot. Sold in thousands of stores. Untraceable. But they kept it. Tested it. Found DNA. Later. When technology advanced. Mali. DNA. But no match in databases. The tie also had particles. Metallic particles. Analyzed decades. Later. Titanium. Aluminum. Stainless steel. Suggested Cooper worked in aerospace, or Boeing, or metalworking. Interesting, but not conclusive. The money. Serial numbers all recorded. 10,000 bills, all photographed. FBI distributed list to banks, to merchants, to police nationwide. Watch for these bills. If anyone spends them, we'll know. We'll find him. But the bills never showed up. Not in 1971. Not in 1972. Not for years. Where was the money? Still with Cooper. Hidden? Destroyed? Lost? Nobody knew. Suspects emerged immediately. The FBI investigated over 1,000 people. Ruled out hundreds. Focused on dozens. Never charged anyone. Never solved it. First major suspect, Richard Floyd McCoy Jr. Hijacked a plane 5 months later. April 1972. Same method. Parachuted with money, but got caught. He was former Green Beret. Experienced parachutist. To fit the profile, FBI interrogated him. He denied being Cooper. Had alibi for Cooper hijacking in Utah that night. Family confirmed, but FBI wasn't sure. Similar age torched. Similar appearance. Similar method. Was it copycat or same person? McCoy was killed in 1974. Shootout with FBI. After escaping from prison, took his secrets with him. Second suspect, Robert Rackstraw Pumptuyang. Nottingham Sealor and Dadors Chi Sidami Vasil. Former Army parachutist, dentist, helicopter pilot, Vietnam veteran. Conman Pumptuyang. Tia how they say Tama. Criminal history. Guide of day. Criminal history. Right age Nietzsche. Right appearance. Lived in Bay Area. Could have been in Portland. FBI investigated him in 1978. Cleared him. But amateur investigators never let it go. Coded messages, hidden clues, conspiracy theories. Rackstraw denied involvement until his death in 2019. But deathbed confession? No. Died. Wow. Just denials and questions. Third suspect, Kenneth Christiansen, Northwest Orient flight attendant. Dunk. New Boeing 727. New airline procedures. Right age. Former paratrooper. Lived in Seattle area. Josh allegedly bought a house with cash after hijacking. Came home Thanksgiving weekend with minor injuries. Told brother cryptic things. Brother suspected him for years. Reported it after Kenneth died. FBI investigated. Found nothing conclusive. What? Possible, but not provable. Fourth suspect, Dwayne Weber. Talked to Antonis. Danny Meberbitz. Deathbed confession to wife. 1995. I am Dan Cooper. She didn't understand. Looked it up later. Found the hijacking story. Realized what he meant. Reported it to FBI. They investigated. Beba was right age. Former Army. New parachutes. Had criminal history. But FBI found problems with timeline, with evidence, with details. Weber's widow believes it was him. FBI doesn't. Case closed on Weber, but questions remain. Fifth suspect, William Gossett Port. Identified by family after his death. Resembled sketch. Former paratrooper. Military service. Troubled life. Violent history. Boy. But died in 23. Never confessed. Never investigated while alive. FBI reviewed case posthumously. Inconclusive. No physical evidence linking him. Just resemblance and speculation. Hundreds more suspects. Investigated. Cleared. Forgotten. The FBI followed every lead, every tip, every wild theory. Man who bragged in bar. Tissid. GC. Man who spent $20 bills suspiciously. Man who resembled sketch. Man who knew parachutes. Talktesten. Bijsadia. Kemna hier now enter. Man who works at Boeing. Man who had grudge against airlines. They investigated everyone. Found nothing. The problem: no physical evidence linking anyone to the crime. The tie had DNA, but no match. The money never circulated. The parachute was never found. The briefcase was never found. No fingerprints. No witnesses who could identify Cooper from photos. Florence Schaffner gave descriptions, but descriptions are imperfect. Memory fades. Faces blur. Dim. And the man wore sunglasses. Half the flight, his face was partially hidden. His identity protected. 1980. Break in the case. Sort of. February Dora. Columbia River. Tort. Near Vancouver, Washington. 8-year-old boy found something on the riverbank. Playing. Digging. Taishai. Found bundles of cash. Rotted. Degraded. But readable. Serial numbers visible. Checked against FBI list. Match. Don't point. Didn't stand by Britannia. Cheap dows. Crichton took Cooper's ransom money. $5,800. 3 bundles. Rubber bands intact. How did they get there? Why only 3 bundles? Where was the rest? FBI searched the area. Dredged the river. Used metal detectors. Searched for miles. Found nothing else. No more money. No parachute. No body. No briefcase. Just 3 bundles. On a beach. Miles from projected landing zone. Garsai. How did money travel from jump site to river? FBI theories. Cooper landed in river. Drowned. Money washed downstream. Buried in sediment. 3 bundles broke free years later. Washed ashore. That explained the location. But not the condition. Money was weathered, but not destroyed. Suggested it was buried, protected, for years. Then exposed by erosion, or flooding, or chance. The finding of the money changed things. Suggested Cooper probably died. If he survived, why leave money behind? Why not recover it? Unless he couldn't. Unless he was dead. Body somewhere in wilderness. Never found. Money scattered in jump or landing. Some buried. Some lost. Some washed away. That was FBI theory. Cooper died on jump or shortly after. Impact. Data. And hypothermia. Drowning. The money on the beach was grave marker. Proof of death. Without body. Without closure. But proof enough. But others disagreed. said the money was planted by Cooper himself to throw off investigation, make FBI think he was dead, while he lived somewhere else with most of the money. It was conspiracy theory, but not impossible. If Cooper survived, planting money would be smart. And the man is a man. What's in his? And the search. Let him disappear into normal life with fortune. It's possible. Unlikely, but possible. Did D.B. Cooper survive? 53 years later, experts are divided. The he died theory. Most FBI agents believe this. Believe he died on the jump or shortly after. Evidence. No experienced parachutist would jump in those conditions. In business suit, Tony. Counts. Yeah. I too. At night. In storm. With non-steerable reserve. Shoot. The weight of the money. 21 pounds. Would throw off balance. Make steering impossible. The impact speed in those conditions would be fatal or cause serious injury. In wilderness, at night, in freezing temperatures, even minor injury would be death sentence. Hypothermia would set in within hours. No shelter, no equipment, no help. He would die alone. Nice. Dead in the forest. His body, decades later, decomposed. Decomposed. Scattered by animals. Absorbed by nature. Never found. The money on the beach confirms it. He died. Case closed. The he survived theory. Some investigators believe this. Believe he planned it perfectly. Evidence. He knew the Boeing 727. Knew the rear stairs could deploy. That specialized knowledge suggests he researched. Prepared. He demanded 4 parachutes. Smart move. Ensured they'd be functional. He chose Thanksgiving Eve. Busy travel day. Multiple flights. Hard to track. He jumped over dense forest. Perfect hiding place. Even if search teams deployed, they'd never find him. If he survived the landing, even injured, he could hide. Wait. Let search pass. Then walk out. Days later. Weeks later. The money that was never spent suggests he kept it hidden. Torque. Never needed to spend it. Lived off it carefully. Small amounts. Never drew attention. It's possible. People have survived worse jumps in worse conditions. If he was lucky. If he was skilled. If he was prepared. He could have made it. The inside job theory. Some believe Cooper had help. Someone at Northwest Orient. Someone at Boeing. Someone who knew procedures. Knew aircraft. Knew flight paths. Evidence. His knowledge was too specific. His planning too precise. His escape too perfect. Maybe he had accomplice. Someone who drove him away from landing site. Someone who hid the money. Someone who kept the secret for decades. It explains how he disappeared so completely. How he knew so much. How he planned so well. But there's no evidence. No paper trail, no witnesses, no confessions, just theory based on impossibility of solo operation. But people do impossible things all the time. He was former military theory. Almost certain evidence. He knew parachutes, wasn't afraid to jump, knew aircraft terminology, spoke calmly under pressure, demanded military-style parachutes, chose military-style operation. This suggests training. Monomus, not mutato, kashi. Airborne, base, special forces. Someone who jumped before, many times. Who wasn't afraid of heights, of risk, of violence if necessary? The FBI profile supported this. Most suspects were military veterans. It fits. But which veteran? Which branch? Which unit? Thousands of possibilities. The military connection is strong, but not conclusive, not identifying. The copycat crimes theory. D.B. Cooper wasn't the first, but he was the most famous, and he inspired others. Within months, copycat hijackings exploded. Over a dozen in 1972, alone. All trying to repeat Cooper's success. All failed. Got caught. Got killed. Got arrested. But they tried. Because Cooper showed it was possible. Showed the method. Showed the weakness in airline security. He opened door. Others walked through until the door closed. Detectors. Security screening. Air marshals. Federal laws. Hijacking became nearly impossible today. But in 1971, it was easy. Too easy. And Cooper proved it. The he's still alive theory. Unlikely. But not impossible. If Cooper was 45 in 1971, he was a daughter. And so am I. He'd be 98 now, if he survived. If he's alive, he's old. Maybe in nursing home. Maybe with family. Who don't know his secret. Maybe alone. Carrying guilt. Carrying memory. Carrying knowledge that he got away with perfect crime. Does he watch documentaries about himself? Read articles? Smile at theories? Feel guilt? Feel pride? We'll never know, unless he confesses on deathbed. In letter to Kaisi. In confession. It happens. Criminals confess. Eventually, when death approaches, when guilt overwhelms, when legacy matters more than freedom. Maybe Cooper will too. Maybe someday, someone will open envelope, read letter, T. I was D.B. Cooper. And mystery will end. But until then, he's Schrodinger's criminal. Both alive and dead. Both free and caught. Both real and legend. D.B. Cooper changed aviation. Permanently. Before November 1971. What he not show, did he? Airline security was minimal. Walk onto plane. No metal detectors. No ID checks. No screening. Just ticket and boarding pass. Easy access. Easy hijacking. Between 1968 and 1972. Over 150 hijackings in US alone. Mostly to Cuba. Political statements. Asylum seekers, but also criminals, extortionists. Cooper's success made it worse, made it attractive, made it seem possible. After Cooper, everything changed. 1973, a mandated universal screening. Metal detectors at every airport. Passenger screening. Back checks. Security personnel. The Cooper vane was invented. Device that prevents rear stairs from deploying in flight on Boeing 727s. Named after him. His legacy, his crime, made physical change to aircraft design forever. The cultural impact was massive. D.B. Cooper became American legend. Folk hero, outlaw, icon. Like Jesse James. Like Butch Cassidy. Criminal. But romantic criminal. Who beat system? Who got away? Who vanished into mythology? Books written about him. Movies taught to maintain. Bendisik tuai todzai. Nuhawa toto. TV shows. Documentaries. Websites. Podcasts. Fan clubs. Johnny Chair. Kram Sidari. Young Sanobai. Annual celebrations. In Washington State. Cooper Days. Where enthusiasts gather. Discuss theories. Share evidence. Keep legend alive. Why do Americans love Cooper? Because he represents something. Freedom. Rebellion. Toy. Beating odds. In 1971. Der sexy. I was tired. Should say yourself. That too way. America was tired. Vietnam var togte. Political corruption. Economic anxiety. Juado. Social upheaval. And here comes regular guy in business suit. Tontoi. Who hijacks plane. Takes money from corporation. And escapes into wilderness. It's American dream. Twisted version. But still recognizable. Individual against system. Underdog winning. Disgemai. Sincere. Mystery. Unsolved. We love that. We celebrate that. Even if we shouldn't. The economic impact was real. Northwest Orient Airlines spent millions on investigation. Anot. Sorry. On security upgrades. Died on public relations. On settlements. Their reputation suffered. Temporarily. The airline that got hijacked. But they recovered. Eventually. The insurance company paid the ransom. $200,000 in 1971. Worth about $1.5 million today. They never recovered it, except those 3 bundles. Less than $6,000. The rest, gone. With Cooper. Or lost. Forever. The FBI spent millions. Decades of investigation. Thousands of man-hours. Resources that could have solved other crimes. Caught other criminals. Saved other lives. But spent on Cooper. On Ghost. On Legend. Was it worth it? Depends who you ask. FBI says yes. Principle matters. No unsolved crime should remain unsolved. No criminal should get away. Even if it costs millions. Even if it takes decades. Justice matters. But critics disagree. Say Cooper is dead. Probably. Money is gone. Definitely. Case is cold. Obviously. Move on. Spend resources elsewhere. On crimes that can be solved. On victims who can be helped. But it's date without answer. Both sides right. Both sides wrong. 2016. FBI officially closed the case. After 45 years. Redirected resources. Moved on. But kept evidence. In case new information emerges. In case someone confesses. In case Cooper's identity is finally revealed. The case is closed. But not solved. There's difference. Closed means we're done investigating. Solved means we know what happened. Cooper case is closed. Not solved. May never be solved. But amateur investigators continue. Online communities. Reddit. Threads. YouTube channels. People obsessed with solving it. Finding Cooper. URCC. Proving their theory. They analyze evidence FBI released. Study flight paths. Research suspects. IT. Violence. Research center. Share theories. Some are brilliant. Some are absurd. All are passionate. Because Cooper mystery is addictive. It's puzzle without solution. Question without answer. And humans hate that. We need closure. Need answers. Need resolution. Cooper denies us that. And so we keep searching. Keep theorizing. Keep hoping that someday someone will find the answer. Will solve the mystery. Will identify D.B. Cooper. Tartotai. Dice to der Sensiang Airbysel. Let's examine the strongest suspects. The men who could have been Cooper. The men who FBI investigated most seriously. The men who fit the profile. Had means. Had motive. Had opportunity. Richard McCoy Jr. The strongest early suspect. Hijacked a plane, April 7th, 1972. United Airlines Flight 855. Demanded $500,000. 4 parachutes. Jumped over Utah. With money. Doshi. Was caught 2 days later. By F.B. Doit. Tried. Convicted. Sent to a prison. He was former Green Beret. Vietnam. Veteran. T. Tire. Experienced parachutist. Demolitions expert. Deem Ganti. Kemi. Right age. Right appearance. right skills. His hijacking was nearly identical to Cooper's. Same method, same demands, same escapes. But he got caught because he made mistakes, left evidence, was identified. Did he learn from Cooper's success? Was he copying? Or was he Cooper? FBI investigated. McCoy had a alibi for Cooper hijacking. Family said he was home in Utah. Hunt took on Thanksgiving 1971. But family alibis are unreliable. People lie. Died you for loved ones. FBI was never fully convinced, but couldn't prove it. McCoy escaped from prison. 1974. Parcho killed in shootout with FBI. 3 months later, took his secrets, whatever they were, to grave. Barbara Dayton, the only female suspect, transgender. Vjauanissetjudetri. Turn der Hands Asicht Stroh Chettadaf. Born Robert Dayton. Worked at Boeing. Lived in Washington. But underwent gender reassignment surgery. 1969. Heart before hijacking. Friend claimed she confessed. Said I'm DB. Cooper. Multiple times. When drunk. When sick. When dying. The friend reported it. After her death in 2002, FBI investigated. Damo found evidence supporting it. Dayton worked in Boeing. Knew 727s. Had parachute experience. Was right age. Yoke. Right build before transition. Resembled sketch. Somewhat. But there were problems. Physical appearance after transition. Didn't match witnesses. Voice. Mannerisms. Would flight attendant have noticed? Maybe. Maybe not. Dayton's family denied it. Said she was seeking attention. Liked mystery. Liked being part of story. But wasn't actually Cooper. FBI couldn't confirm. Couldn't deny. Just another theory. Another possibility. Another dead end. Sheridan Peterson investigated seriously. 2003. By independent researcher. But Peterson was right age. Former Marine. Smoke jumper. Experienced parachutist. Worked in Nepal. On Thanksgiving 1971. Or so he claimed. Researcher couldn't verify. Travel records inconclusive. Peterson resembled sketches. Had skills. Had opportunity. Had personality. Matched profile. But he denied it. Provided alibis. Cooperated with investigation. FBI cleared him. 2004. No evidence linking him. Just circumstantial. Just suspicious. Just theory. Peterson, Deet. 2021. Still denying. Still unknown. Still possible. William Pratt Gossett, most recent strong suspect. Identified by his children. 2018. After his death in 2003, They found his belongings, found objects matching Cooper evidence, found photos, resemblance striking. Gossett was former paratrooper, Army, Army, right age, right appearance, violent history, dog, capable of crime. His children believe he was Cooper. Reported to FBI. FBI investigated. Date 18, 2020. Found interesting connections, but nothing conclusive. No physical evidence, no confession, no proof. Children's belief isn't evidence. Resemblance isn't proof. Possibility isn't certainty. Gossett investigation was thorough, but ultimately inconclusive. Like all the others, like all the suspects, possible, but not provable. Theory died, but not truth. We don't know, may never know. And that's what makes the story endure. Because in a world full of answers, D.B. Cooper is a question. A question with no name, no face, no past, no future. Just one moment in time. A man in a dark suit. On Thanksgiving Eve, 1971, Dados, who decided to do the impossible. He walked onto a plane and vanished. Not into clouds, not into darkness, but into legend. Cooper is more than a criminal case, more than an FBI file, more than a name on a boarding pass. He is the embodiment of mystery, the reminder that some stories never resolve, some puzzles never complete, some secrets go to the grave, unspoken. And maybe that's exactly how he wanted it. But imagine for a moment, somewhere out there, deep in a forest cabin, or a hospital bed, or a quiet living room with family photos on the wall, an old man once smiled at the news, at the theories, at the sketches, at the endless debates. Imagine him leaning back, whispering to himself, "They never found me." Not out of arrogance, but out of wonder, out of disbelief that he had done the impossible and lived to see the legend grow. Or perhaps he didn't survive the fall at all. Perhaps his story ended the moment he stepped into that storm. And everything after. The theories, the suspects, the myths are simply echoes of a man swallowed by the wilderness. Two possibilities, one truth, forever unknown. And so, the case of D.B. Cooper remains what it has always been. A ghost story told at 30,000 feet. A whisper across the treetops of Southwest Washington. A riddle carried by river currents. A name carved into American folklore. The FBI has closed the file. Investigators have passed on. Suspects have died. Memories have faded. But the legend? The legend refuses to disappear. Because legends don't need bodies, or answers, or endings. They just need wonder and mystery. And one man bold enough, or foolish enough, to leap from a 727 with $200,000 strapped to his chest, and trust the darkness to catch him. My name is Morgan Freeman, and this has been the story of the man who vanished into thin air, the outlaw who outsmarted everyone, the myth we call D.B. Cooper. Dart. Tomadesi.